Thanks so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the organization?
My name is Mary Ellen Philbin, and I'm the CEO of a nonprofit organization called Share the Care here that serves Orange and Seminole counties and provides services and support to family caregivers.
Can you share your journey and the motivation behind your work at Share the Care, focusing on supporting family caregivers and seniors?
Sure. Well, I think that caregivers are kind of a universal class of people. Everyone has some kind of caregiving journey in their life, whether it's you caring for your small children as they're growing up or your parents as they get older. And sometimes, unfortunately, it might be caring for a sibling or a spouse who's disabled or has some kind of impairment that requires that you provide care. So 1 in 4 households in the United States is involved in some kind of caregiving for a disabled or cognitively impaired adult. It's a universal program, and really, I mean, you can't find a more kind of universally concerning issue with everybody having some kind of experience related to caregiving.
What are the key benefits of in-home care for seniors, and how does it compare to other forms of care like assisted living facilities?
I think that, first of all, if you ask people, where would you like to receive care when you need care? And there is an assumption that pretty much everybody will need care at some point in their life. They all universally say, I want to stay home. I want to stay at home my whole life. Now, some people can't stay at home. They get too sick, and there aren't people at home to care for them. But if the choice is home care and all that is standing between the family and that kind of care is a little bit of help, then that is what Share the Care is about, providing a little support for people to stay at home, the place where they want to be and where their family wants them to be. And there are a variety of different types of services that we provide to people, allowing them to have the support they need to be the family caregiver. And there's a whole gamut of services. But the fact of the matter is, all families are different, their needs are different, and so to have only one service that you provide would only meet one type of need. So we have a whole list of services, a menu of available services for families. And the ultimate philosophy about this is that government funding is more optimized if you provide a little bit of support to the family and let them be the caregivers than by paying the big bill that the government has to pay when people ultimately go into skilled nursing in assisted living or nursing homes.
Can you provide an overview of the services and support that Share the Care offers to family caregivers and seniors in Central Florida?
Right, and I was hoping that question was coming because I think people think one thing, you call up and you're going to ask for a in-home companion for your mom for 4 hours or something, so you can go out and do shopping. Well, we do provide that as a service for most impaired people, but we have a variety of other services available. We're very well known for our adult day health care centers. We have 4 of them, 2 in Orange County and 2 in Seminole County. And those centers, people can be dropped off for the day, dropped off in the morning, picked up in the afternoon. You could keep your job and keep your mom at home still by having that kind of care, which is the same type of care that parents look for their children in order to keep their job. Or if maybe you're an exhausted spouse caregiver, you're both retired, but you need a day off. So 1 day a week at adult daycare. Plus, adult daycare is so cost effective compared to home care or institutional care. 1 day, if you were to private pay, of up to 10 hours of care is $65. So compared to in-home care, which is $30 an hour, or nursing home care, which can be up to $300 a day, it's very cost-effective for families and very meaningful. But beyond that, we have behavioral health care. So we have 14 licensed therapists doing mental health counseling for caregivers. Often caregivers are overwhelmed, they're anxious, they're depressed. They've had to give up a lot of their own lives in order to care for their family member. They need someone to talk to, and we provide that. We provide 4 weekly webinars for people to tune in. Anyone can tune in, and they're on 4 different topics, but the same topic every week on each day. One of them is life after caregiving. So you've been caregiving for years for your family member. Suddenly they pass on. Now what do you do with your life? You've changed your entire life in order to care for that person. Now you've lost your identity. How do you move on and continue to be a meaningful person, have a life of your own, that type of thing. So that's one of the things we acknowledge. We also have case management, care management by social workers for all families to do a care plan. We do environmental modification to the home. Say your mom lives up north and you want her to come down and stay with you, but your bathroom's not equipped for that. We can help you do that. We do non-durable medical supplies, so someone needs help with, they're incontinent and they need incontinence supplies, or they have dietary issues, they need nutritive drinks. We can provide those to the family. We have a lot of different services, as you can tell, but the idea being that you can come into our program through support group, which is, you know, on Zoom, or come to our office and you go to a support group. Use no services at all, but through that group you learn about all of the other services that you have eligibility for, and we can move you into the service that's most appropriate for your family.
How does Share the Care contribute to the well-being of the community, and can you share some success stories of families you've helped?
I mean, every family is a success story, really, because people call us and they feel like they're all alone, and that when they call us, they often feel like they're defeated because they thought they could do it on their own, but they realize they need help. So every time that someone calls and then they find a meaningful service that helps them to be a stronger and really just higher quality caregiver, because that's what they're all about. They want to do the best job they possibly can. By receiving help through us, they can be that stronger, better caregiver. But I've had many people come up to me either after or during their caregiver journey telling me that if it wasn't for Share the Care services, they don't know what they would have done. They may have had to quit caregiving for their own health, or they might have had to choose nursing home care over home care. So I think that's the ultimate success story, is when we allow people to make choices and then we help them to carry out those choices without being a danger to themselves and their own health.
Yeah.
So,
Can you tell us about the Care Virtue?
sure. We're very excited about Care Virtue in that it is a technology tool to allow us to be more efficient and communicate better with families. As you know, I mean, you're a young woman. I'm a somewhat older woman, but in this current generation, there's pretty much an app for everything. And we basically have provided an app through Care Virtue for our clients to be able to communicate with our different departments and service providers. For example, we can remind people when their day at daycare is, or when their day of in-home is, or when support group meets, or what day and time they have a counseling session, or if some interesting training opportunities available in the community. These things can all be posted on Care Virtue. And Care Virtue was established with a grant from National Institute of Health. And so it is a validated and viable tool. I think it's very cool. It's a way that we can show that we are constantly looking to be creative to make the services more meaningful and more efficient. Because by utilizing these technology tools, it's less one-on-one time that families have to spend on the phone trying to find out, all the logistics of care. So it's a win-win for staff and for the families. We're very excited about it, and people can look it up.
What are some common challenges that seniors and their caregivers face, and how does Share the Care address these challenges?
Well, I think the menu of services kind of explains, how we've identified what their needs are, but I will tell you that the hardest challenge that we have as a provider of services to caregivers, because that's what our mission is, to provide service and support to caregivers. Even though we may be serving the person they're caring for as part of that mission, the true mission is to fortify these caregivers. Caregivers often don't even identify themselves as needing help. They'll call up and they'll want a service for their mother or their husband or whatever, and they're doing that out of the fact that this is the right thing to do as a caregiver, but they don't understand that the thing that they need to identify is their own health and their own ability to carry on as, this is a monumental job. If you can't do anything 24/7 but make sure your mom doesn't fall or that your mom gets to the restroom okay, having a break from that is a huge actually medically necessary thing for caregivers, but they only identify things that are necessary for the person they're caring for. So to change that orientation to what's good for me, the caregiver, is good for the person I'm caring for. And so that is our universal challenge with people, and trying to get them to overcome the fact that they have to do everything alone, that they're the only ones that can do it, and that their health is primary to their whole caregiving role.
How can individuals get involved with Share the Care's mission, whether through volunteering or other forms of support?
Well, I mean, financial support's always nice. A lot of people do require some type of subsidies, which we receive from the state and federal government. If people qualify, there are some subsidies available. But the main thing that I would tell people is learn through programs like this that there are services and support for family caregivers. And then the next time at church you see the husband and wife that you know they're going through this, or somebody in your own family that you know needs support, please make the referral to us to provide the service. We can't have a meaningful intervention and be helpful to folks if they don't know about us or they don't find out how to reach us. And even if it's as simple as attending a support group one time, most people don't attend a support group one time. They come one time and then they stay because they finally found people like themselves. And really, that's what it's all about. They need to know people like themselves, understand their journey better as a member of a caregiving community, which is what they are, and then understand that taking help and getting intervention is part of being good at it. So tell people about Share the Care. Tell people to call us or go on Care Virtue or check out our website, which is helpforcaregivers.org. Share the Care was already taken. So helpforcaregivers.org, and we also have access to Care Virtue through that.
Where do you see the future of neighborhood and in-home care for seniors heading, especially in the context of an aging population?
Where is it heading? Well, it can only get bigger. The need is huge. We have waiting lists for some of our services. Right now we serve 1,500 families a year in all of our programs. We could serve more than that. It's all a matter of they say capacity, but capacity is related to funding too. So, the funding to provide the services then leads us to a larger capacity to serve people. And like I said earlier, it makes sense to fund the less expensive, intervention than the most expensive intervention. And unfortunately, in government funding, for years and years, there's been a bias towards nursing home care for publicly funded care. So I would say encourage and talk to your public officials about funding more programs that help families at home. Family caregivers are worth way more to society when they're caring for someone than when they decide they can't because they can't get help. So tell your legislators this is an important audience. As a matter of fact, it's probably all of us. So I don't know if you have anybody in your family that is caregiving, or have you been involved in caregiving through your family?
I have not, but my husband has, with his parents, but they just moved closer to my brother-in-law.
Right. Yes. Well, somebody's going to be doing it, right?
Yes, and that's the brother-in-law.
Right, exactly. We're all related. So it's still in your family, even if you're not directly providing care. So it's just a universally important category of care. Everybody needs it. And I often tell some nonprofits may have a hard time identifying people or finding people that care about their constituency. Like say you're feeding the homeless or something. We all know that that's the right thing to do, is feed the homeless, yet we don't imagine ourselves ever being homeless. But we can imagine ourselves being a caregiver.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, and this is very informative. And I think of the airplane where you're getting that presentation where it says take care of yourself before the person next to you with the
Put your oxygen first.
It's similar to that situation.
Well, it's absolutely true. Yeah, and really our mission is that, caring for the caregiver. And then they can be the real and true active caregiver for the person that they love so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe to our channel and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts.